Chapter 2, Season 2. Arguably the most loved season of all time. Just ask fn.gg, which is about as reliable as me to upload on time on the other channel. Or how about Ninja? Are you fucking kidding me?!
Audio Jungle.
Even Fortnite loves this season, as they haven't shut up about how much they love it for the past week. But why is Season 2 the most loved season? Well, today we're going to find out. So sit down, use code TheBigCraigd in the Fortnite item shop when buying the Remix Pass this Saturday, and let's find out. Chapter 2 Season 2 released February 20th, 2020 after Fortnite had ended their longest season of all time. This season was Fortnite's first major departure from their normal format of gameplay, which was kind of just kill people. This season brought the yacht, the rig, no, not that one, this one, the grotto, the shark, and of course the agency. These POIs were guarded by NPC guards that if they spotted the player, they would try and kill them, and most of the time they would. They nerfed that later, don't worry. Inside of each of these POIs, there was also a mythic boss that when eliminated would drop their own mythic weapon. This season is when mythic weapons were mostly brought to the forefront. Previously we'd had the Infinity Gauntlet, the Infinity Blade, and Batman's Batarang, as well as some other mythic weapons. But Chapter 2 Season 2 was the first season to really bring mythics out into the spotlight. We had the mythic heavy assault rifle, grappler, normal assault rifle, boom bow, minigun, dual pistols, and of course, the Midas mythical drum gun. That was not broken at all. Now these mythics were essentially just buffed versions of the normal versions, apart from the boom bow. That sucked. Now, the bosses around the map would drop these mythic weapons and the players could use them for whatever they wanted, but they also dropped key cards. These key cards allowed players to unlock vaults hidden inside these POIs, and inside these vaults would be also very good loot, usually rare, purple, or legendary items. Now, if you play the game today, you can definitely see that certain aspects of this season are still used in Chapter 5, like the bunkers around the island acting as vaults, or the henchmen around the Doom POIs acting as henchmen. The fact that this season did so well despite all of the changes it brought to the game is really shocking to me because the Fortnite community hates change more than I hate Chapter 4, and that's really saying something. Throughout the season they also added creep and cardboard, the decoy, rapid fire SMG, proximity mine, the crash pads, the ones on steroids, not little bitch ones we have in Zero build today, the Kingsman umbrella, which I had no idea how to use, also lightsabers for a little bit, I don't really know why. We also had the incredibly underrated Spy Games LTMs, which released halfway through the season. There were 4 of these LTMs that would rotate out throughout the season, and it would consist of 2 teams of players fighting against each other through objective-based game modes such as Operation Drop Zone and Operation Payload. I'm not going to explain what these game modes do or what they are because, I mean, they're kind of self-explanatory really. It's kind of like Operation Payload is just payload from TF2. You could also select different random loadouts to go into missions with in these LTMs, which could give you special effects or unreleased weapons like the dual silence pistols. These were really fun in my opinion, and they never did them again. Well, apart from Operation Knockout. I'm going to explain Operation Knockout because Operation Knockout was basically just Baby's first Team Rumble, and the only reason I'm saying that is because it's the only one that ended up coming back to the game and not the others, which means I hate it. We also had the astronomical live event midway through the season, and for some reason everyone was convinced we were going back to the Chapter 1 map because a piece of the terrain that was in the event for like 0.23 seconds slightly resembled a hill on the Chapter 1 map. Fortnite players are very sane people. And to round it all off at the end of the season, we had the Device event, which was the biggest live event in Fortnite history at the time, and brought the giant water storm to the island, which players would abuse for the next few days. I am players, that was me. It also had music that went so hard for absolutely no reason, and you all know which clip I'm gonna play, so what's the point in me telling you? Now I know what you're thinking. This sounds like the best season of all time. Of course everyone loves it. It was 4 months long, and they didn't add anything to the game for 2 months. Now we're going to give this season some slack because the season released during the height of the pandemic, so it wasn't really their fault if they had to delay the season's ending for an extra few weeks. But boy, were the community not happy. The Fortnite community was in outrage, chairs went flying, people went flying, 9-year-olds cried out in unison across the globe, and a single tear went down Tim Sweeney's cheek. But yeah, that was a very brief history on Chapter 2 Season 2, you know, just laying down the context and some general information on what this season had to offer, just in case you weren't around during the time or needed a refresher. Now, I know there's going to be one kid in the comments going,
"Ooh, Craig, you didn't talk about the BLM police car situation."
Shut up, we're not talking about that. This has nothing to do with the season. Shut up. So now that we know what Season 2 had to offer, why was it so loved? Was it because of the gameplay? I mean, I think the gameplay obviously had a big factor in the reception of this season because, like, that's how video games work. But I think the love for this season boils down to 3 main areas, and I think gameplay is the least contributing factor. So Chapter 2 Season 2 released either during or just before pandemic lockdowns, depending on where you were. This meant that a lot of people ended up playing Fortnite during this time. People were more regularly available, which meant you were able to play with your friends a lot more, and it also meant that you could play for a lot longer. I think that nostalgia from a lot of people helped to keep this season as high as it is, because, like, no other Chapter 2 season even comes close to the amount of love that this one does. The only one that comes close is Chapter 2 Season 4, which was just genuinely that good. So is it really a jump to say that the Fortnite season, where everyone was locked inside and had nothing else to do other than play Fortnite with their friends for months at a time, is carried by nostalgia a little bit? I'll leave that up to you to decide, but I also have another theory as to why the season is so loved. The characters. This season had one of the best battle passes of all time, just objectively. Let's not debate it. That's just how it is. And it was one of the first seasons to have a battle pass that felt like it had characters instead of skins. Each character had their own little piece of lore to go along with them, and even had their own little cutscene that would give you an idea of how they acted, what they did, and so on. Well, apart from Maya and Agent Peely, because fuck those guys. There's a reason why Sky, Midas, and Meowscles have like 27 different skins in the game, because they are fan favorite characters. And now in Chapter 2 OG, who are the main focus characters for the whole remix season? Chaos Agent, TNTina, Sky, and Midas. And also 8-Ball, but I mean, we don't really got to talk about him. I think the little pieces of characterization given to the Battle Pass characters throughout the season really did a lot for players to help them see the skins as characters instead of just things to buy and grind towards. So with all the groundwork laid down, with all the points thrown in there, why was Chapter 2 Season 2 so loved? Well, I think it was a mixture between good theming and characterization of the season's characters, story, and POIs that allowed players to get a good understanding on how each character acted, while also leaving enough room for the players to add their own lore or whatever into. I also think that the fact that the pandemic lockdowns also helped to let players What is this script? What is this saying? The pandemic lockdowns let players play for more than they would have with their friends otherwise, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. It allowed players to play the seasons to its full potential, making many memories that I'm sure could be made with other seasons if only there was more time. The gameplay was also just really good. Now, here comes the big question. Chapter 2 Remix comes out on Saturday, and it's heavily banking on the whole Chapter 2 Season 2 thing working out because, like, it's all they're talking about. Can Chapter 2 Remix live up to the hype? Can it feel like Chapter 2 Season 2, and can it give players the feeling of playing the season all over again like they did with Chapter 1 OG? In my opinion, yes and no. I think the season will be good. In fact, I think it will be very good. I think it will be everything Fortnite can do in terms of gameplay, music, story, and so on. But I don't think it will reach the extremely high highs that Chapter 2 Season 2 had reached. The characters are different, and I highly doubt that Fortnite are going to give them an animated cutscene again, considering the marketing for this season so far. What were they thinking, slapping PNGs onto old trailers and calling it a day? Were they like, Trevor, have you finished making the marketing for Chapter 2 Remix? Huh? I was supposed to market it? Oh, Trevor, me boy, you got to make the marketing for the Season 2 in 2 hours, so we can start teasing the new season? Got it. What is this? This is the best bloody marketing campaign I've ever seen in my life! Oh, wee jacket potato! Yeah, I think it was something like that. I also think that unless Epic Games literally incite a global pandemic lockdown so that everyone can play Chapter 2 Remix, there is no way that they'll be able to recreate the nostalgia factor for this season. With what little we know about Remix, we can't 100% say that it's going to be a faithful recreation of Chapter 2, especially considering what Chapter 1 OG did last year.
Holy God, what are you showing me? Come on!
If they can make Chapter 2 as faithfully as they can and then sprinkle some new things here and there to keep it fresh, I think that'll be the best of both worlds in this scenario. I don't think this yearly OG, remix, revamped, refurbished, whatever system is going to keep working. It's too soon to do Chapter 3, and we've already seen that there seems to be a lack of hype compared to last year. And that's not saying that people aren't looking forward to this season, because they are, goddammit, just maybe not as many people as last year, which is to be expected. To be fair to Epic, it is just genuinely very hard to recreate Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 2, and I have no idea why they decided it would be a good idea to make the whole season on it. And yes, I'm still annoyed about that. I don't care. Anyway, I'm sure this upcoming Chapter 2 Remix season will be tons of fun, and I will be streaming both the event on Friday and the new season for a bit on Saturday, so come join if you feel like it. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to subscribe and use code TheBigCraigd in the Fortnite item shop when buying the new season to support me, and you might get 2 years of good luck. Maybe.